Hey YouTube, Brian from channel Huckster here. And today I want to talk about a very controversial opinion going on currently in Yu-Gi-Oh! You can already tell from the title, the thumbnail, everything. I don't think this card's the issue. I think this card's the issue. In my opinion, Red Eye's Dark Dragoon is not the problem monster. Anaconda is the problem. Why do I think this? Well, me personally, a little thing I want to give out. I'm personally not a fan of just these cards that enable these super specific monsters to be splashed into every single deck. I'm not really a fan of when, I don't want to say necessarily a boss monster of a certain archetype can just get put into another deck because of another monster being able to just kind of cheese it out. That's the situation here with Anaconda. So let's look at what makes Anaconda so strong. First of all, 2 effect monsters. You can't get easier than that unless it just said 2 monsters. But I mean, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! 99.9% of monsters played nowadays, ironically, unless it's a Garnet, the Red Eyes, or the Dark Magician, they're effect monsters. Any deck nowadays worth anything can bring out 2 effect monsters. Unless you are playing like Fossil Dyna, Set 5, Back Row Pass, you're going to be summoning 2 effect monsters on your turn. Next, by paying 2k life, you are able to send your fusion card from your deck to the graveyard to copy its effect. Obviously the one in question, Red Eye's Fusion. We already all know this card's been around for a while. So, let's talk about Red Eye's Fusion though. In my opinion, Red Eye's Fusion is honestly more on the weaker side of fusion cards. It does have its niche. It lets you summon a fusion monster from the extra deck as long as it, is a Red Eyes monster. And you can do this by sending the monsters from your deck to the graveyard. Kind of like Shaddoll Fusion. But unlike Shaddoll Fusion, let's be real here. Red Eyes has limited options for strong, fusion monsters where Shaddoll has more. The other thing, though, that makes Shaddoll Fusion better than Red Eyes Fusion is that Red Eyes Fusion specifically states you can't summon any other monsters for the rest of this turn. It doesn't matter before, after, whatever. If it's your turn and you normal summon that Moki Moki onto your board, you cannot use this card. And thus, you are now giving up access to all of those Red Eyes monsters in your extra deck. Anaconda ignores this. Anaconda ignores that part about the effect that makes it so you can't do that. Now, yes, Anaconda has the effect of its own where you can't summon a monster after, but that's fine. Every deck's going to summon all their negates, all their problem monsters, end with Anaconda bringing out Dragoon. That's fine. Let's take, a Dragon Link, for example. It's not uncommon, Dragon Link, to summon Herratic, the Herald, Synchro, Borreload Savage Dragon, and then now end with Predaplan Anaconda, bringing out the Dragoon to round out with another negate. My thing about this is, if you were to take out Anaconda, I've heard the argument, you could just run 3 Red Eyes Insight, 3 Red Eyes Fusion, the Dark Magician, the Red Eyes, and then the Dragoon. You're really gonna run 8 cards in your main deck just to bring out 1 monster from your extra deck and ignore everything else your deck is supposed to do. Let's just go with a generic example, Harpies. Harpies can summon out a bunch of monsters. That's what they do. They spam the board. They can easily make Dragoon because they can easily just go on Anaconda and do that. Now, would Harpies give up the Simorgh Link monster to bring out their barrier statue to lock out special summons unless it's a win monster? Would they really want to give that up for Dragoon? Because, say they did. They're just, I activate Red Eyes Fusion. You have a handful of Harpies. You have Channeler. You have the Harpist, perfect discard for her effect. You have Elegant Egotist to really just start getting your board going. You just open the perfect, 4 cards in your hand for Harpy, and then the 1 Red Eyes Fusion. You use that Red Eyes Fusion because you can't summon any other monsters. You bring out Dragoon. Pass turn. Oh, Gamma Seal? Oh, proceed to OTK. Oh, okay. It's not worth it. It's really not worth it, in my opinion. Another thing I've heard, there's more ways to stop Anaconda. You can Veiler it, Impermanence it, all that. If you're going with Red Eyes Fusion, they have to send from the deck. You can stop that with Ash Blossom, like one of the most common hand traps that people run. On top of that, there's other ways you could stop it too, I feel like that's not really a good excuse where, Veiler and Impermanence can stop Anaconda. They're not once per turn. Like, okay. But, I mean, to me, that's not a good excuse. My personal thought to this is you wouldn't give up doing what your deck can do. Because at that point, why even play that part of the deck? Why not just play Red Eyes or Dark Magician? If you're really going to try that hard to bring out Dragoon and ignore everything else your deck can do. Unless your deck is like back row heavy, summon Dragoon, throw down my Solemn Brigade, pass turn, okay, sure. And again, I'm not denying that Dragoon is strong. Omni Negate, Protection, the crazy burn, all of that. It's very good. But I feel like it's not this unstoppable juggernaut. We have cards like, Forbidden Droplets and like Dark Ruler No More. These strong cards that just stop Dragoon from doing what it needs to do. It's just all of these things that can just stop Dragoon from being a problem. And the fact that they invested their turn into this one monster. They are literally putting all of their eggs in one basket. And if that one egg falls out, that's their turn. They're going to lose. What makes Dragoon strong in all these other decks is that they have like 4 negates all together with Dragoon. If it's just that one negate, if you can bait that out, it's not hard to beat Dragoon. Access Code Talker can easily whack over Dragoon. There's, like I said, all these negates that can stop, Dragoon from being able to do its stuff. There's so much ways that you can stop it, just as much as I feel you could with Anaconda. And, like I said, I'm not really a fan of when decks just take a monster that's super strong because they're able to cheese it out through another way. I personally hate when Konami does this. I hate when they have a card that's degenerate, like, Firewall. We'll go back a couple years. They took Assault Core to 1 to try to stop this. I feel like Anaconda is, you may stop its target of Dragoon right now, but that's going to limit the design of other fusion cards, other, fusion monsters. Because now they're always going to have to think to themselves, can Anaconda abuse this? It's kind of like cards like Snake Rain, where now, can we make a reptile deck? Would Snake Rain break it? Can we make a machine deck with a monster that's 500 attack or less? Could Machine Duke break this? They have to keep thinking about that. And now you're kind of limiting a whole summoning mechanic with fusions by thinking, can Anaconda abuse this? You take out that, you don't worry about it. Again, Dark Magician and Red Eye, sure, let them have their boss monster. As someone that loves, both decks, honestly, they're not that strong. Having this huge boss monster, if you can take that out, the deck, it has other good cards, both of them, yes, but not like, let me set up my 10 negate board kind of stuff. So I'm not a fan when they do that. And so I feel like being able to just take care of the problem card. Again, a good example, another Link 2 monster, being Halqifibrax. We have 5 or 6 tuners now, all banned just because of this one card. If we got rid of Halqifibrax, let's just bring back Global, bring back Destrudo, just bring back all these monsters. I hate when so many other cards are going to have to get hit around just for one card, and Konami just doesn't bite the bullet and take care of the problem card. let's wait till next ban list prediction here. Plague Spreader to 0, because he's the next one. I mean, who are we going to use next? We'll eventually work our way down until, Krebins becomes this strong card, and we're going to have to think on our next ban list. I can just see all the Yugi tubers now like, oh, ban list predictions, Krebins to 0, because that's the new Halki Fibrax target. I hate when they do that. It's just, they need to get rid of the problem. And the problem isn't the outcome of Dragoon. The problem is the accessibility and how easy it is to splash Dragoon, because Anaconda is such an easy to summon and easy to use monster. I mean, long rant aside, a little small one here. I hate that Konami does this, where they make like monsters that can't. They're for an archetype, but they don't even need the monster of that archetype. Why isn't Anaconda like 2 effect monsters, including a Predaplant monster? At least find some way to make you have to work for it. Unless you are in Predaplant deck, in which that case, yeah, that's easy for you. But it's stuff like that. And, I know it's a very highly controversial opinion. I know in the OCG right now, I remember hearing that when they announced it on the video that Dragoon was banned, it was like a 50-50 like to dislike ratio. It was so bad because people, they don't think Anaconda, should be able to stay and Dragoon should go to 0. I personally, if I could pick Anaconda to 0, Dragoon to 1. Strong card, put him to 1. You lose him, you lost your monster. You don't get to bring out multiple in one turn. You don't get to go, oh, well, another one after that. So that's all my opinion. I actually do want to hear other people's opinions about this, because while I'm on the side that Anaconda is the problem, and I know I'm not the only one on this, I've checked this before posting this video thinking, maybe I am just being biased since Dark Magician's my favorite deck and I'd like to keep my boss monster. But other people agree with me too, and they've mentioned the points I have about how this just limits, fusion creativity in the future. This brings out this like easily accessible monster that can be abused. It kind of destroys the creativity of deck building, because let's be real here. I don't care if you're playing Burning Abyss. I don't care if you're playing, Dragon Link. You're really just playing a small little engine to bring out Dragoon. Your end boards all look the same. You're not playing, like I said, Burning Abyss. You're playing Dragoon Turbo using Burning Abyss. And I don't like that. I feel like decks just are not interesting when they all end on the same board, because you have these generic monsters that enable this, and then decks lose their strong monsters because of it. Again, funny enough, with Burning Abyss, Phantom Knights, I think Shade Brigadine should have, had a Phantom Knights monster be one of the requirements, not just dark monsters. I think Konami, while doing a good job at making their stuff kind of less generic in a way, they at the same time let things slip like that, and then it gets just kind of used with other stuff. And then, like we had our last thing with Orcus, Brigadine needed to be banned, and it just, I feel bad for Phantom Knights players. They just keep losing cards, and then they'll get them back, and they lost their rank up card for a while. They lost that. I hate when things like that have to happen to a deck because another deck is abusing it because it was too generic. And yeah, that would happen to Predaplants in my thing, but like I said, I feel Dragoon is only a problem because of accessibility. Shout out to Davinator. I want to point this out to him. He said it best in one of his videos before. When it comes to power output versus consistency, consistency will almost always win. And this is true in the case of Red Eyes Dragoon. I want you to think about that. Your power output, if you decided to just run the 3 Red Eyes Insight, the 3 Red Eyes Fusion, the Dark Magician, the Red Eyes, and the Dragoon in your extra deck, that's a lot of power. But you're now running very inconsistently with all these bricks. You're stopping what your deck can do normally. Is that power output really worth that consistency? I don't think so. And I really want to hear your guys' opinions on this too. I know it's a very controversial thing, like I said, so we'll just have to see. Konami, who knows, maybe they'll just ban both. That seems like a very Konami move to make. But, I sorry about the rambling on this. I just something I've been thinking about. I haven't posted in a while. I've just been kind of in a weird funk with Yu-Gi-Oh! Not necessarily like hating it or anything. More of just kind of like, I've had other things I'm kind of putting interest in right now. But I'm back. I'm making stuff. And this is something I've been thinking literally throughout that whole month hiatus. So let me know what you guys think. I'm open to hear anything. If you say, nah, Dragoon needs to go, here's why, and you want to post a laundry list of reasons, I'll read them. I'm very interested to see, what people think about this topic. So thank you very much. Have a good night.